Strength, functional and firm. On October 15, 1973, Donald Trump found himself at the center of a federal lawsuit that alleged discriminatory rental practices by his family, a situation that, rather than revealing the sordid underbelly of society seemingly always presently there to threaten any person's life and subsistence requirements, from the seemingly rear and from this circumstance, Trump showcased resilience in the face of baseless yet albeit generally fashionable accusations from the treacherously inclined and maliciously sympathized with. Or empathized with. That's either or, doesn't make a real-world difference. His father, Fred Trump, a seasoned businessperson, had navigated the complexities of government jealousy and scrutiny with shrewd legal maneuvers and the assistance of his trusted advisor, Bunny Lindenbaum, to overcome the no leeway the public sector was mistreating him with. While Fred Trump considered a quick settlement, i.e., appeasement, to protect the family business's integrity, for the justification that certain scandals, valid or not, as they're made more protracted, the costs and setbacks can mount and brutalize the implicated or targeted, quite damagingly. Again, this is regardless of innocence or guilt towards a rising scandal. In contrast to his father, Donald chose a different path, embodying a spirit of defiance and confident presence towards challenge. It's often debated which approach to certain rising conflicts wins over practically. In the elite circles of Le Club, Donald Trump engaged with the formidable Roy Cohn, a lawyer known for his tenacity and strategic prowess. This partnership marked a paradigm shift, as Trump resolved to confront the lawsuit head-on, adopting the belief that the truth was on his side. Rather than cowering in the face of adversity, he took bold steps to protect not only his reputation but also the principles of fair play and justice that he believed were being undermined by opportunistic critics or, clearly put, societal predators. The ensuing legal conflict was not merely a defense against unfounded claims. It was a reputational revelation to the public or community of Trump's commitment to combat the unscrupulous forces plotting and playing, in an uncanny and unnecessary, sadistically starving manner, with his and other people's lives. With Roy Cohn's guidance, Trump masterfully navigated the often legal labyrinth, refusing to let intimidation set in or internalize cuttingly, by the tactics of those who sought to warp the perception of reality, like a disconnected magical wizard or magical fairy in a children's fairy tale. In this struggle, Trump emerged not just as a defendant but as a champion or advocate of his family's business and legacy, determined to dismantle the baseless and predatory allegations which threatened to damage it, no matter how elaborate the tale they cloaked their threatening behavior in. In the spring of 1974, as the case unfolded, young prosecutor Donna Fields Goldstein attempted to wield her status as a tool of oppression against Donald. However, her tactics only served to expose disappointingly the stark contrast between her low mental age careerist and dreamy ambitions, and scheming, and healthily highlighted Donald's unwavering dedication to reality. Even if it tastes like cough syrup. Thus, rather than allowing himself to be projected onto as instead somehow the villain in the other party's machinations, Donald adeptly and victoriously rooted the rogue narrative about him, exposing the lengths to which some would go to distort reality and threaten someone they barely know. Cohn's, i.e., Trump's counsel, strategic brilliance became evident in the courtroom, where unfounded accusations from Goldstein and the FBI were swiftly dismissed by Judge Neer. This ruling underscored the absurdity of equating lawful inquiry with intimidation, reinforcing Trump's position as a defender of his own merit, amidst a sea of unjust attacks. The case ultimately became a display of how those with some skill, power or competence, impulsively rushed to often attempt to manipulate perceptions for unjust personal gain. However, Trump's steadfast approach revealed the permanence of truth or reality against the tide of intimidating yet transient, negligent misinformation or malicious disinformation from seemingly real-world villains. Through a year of legal maneuvering, Fred Trump's impatience grew as he observed his son's determination to uphold their family name. Together, they focused not merely on the settlement but on the principles of equity and justice. The Trumps recognized that compliance with fair housing requirements was not a mere cost of doing business. It was a commitment to fairness that embodied their values as business leaders. As the dust settled, the settlement reached was not an admission of guilt but a flexible maneuver to protect the family's legacy. It's often said, "What bends does not break." Henceforth Donald Trump, emerging from the ordeal with his reputation logistically and generally intact, showcased his ability to turn a perceived serious threat into an opportunity for building oneself up and arriving closer at one's true worth, so as to be less and less deceived as the waves of predators continue to arrive in one's life, all throughout. This experience fortified a young heir's pillar on the importance of standing firm against inevitable yet albeit surprising adversity, meanwhile sustaining the embracement of the complexities of conflict, specifically the constant barrage of societal conflict. Objectively, this lawsuit was not just a legal battle. It represented an elevating moment in the Trump legacy, where Donald Trump transitioned from an amateur businessperson facing inevitable friction to a savvy or responsive strategist, now able to wield litigation as a tool for justice. His new skill acquired. Donald's story of resilience and victory over unfounded accusations would continue, gradually and near invisibly, as resilience can be, adjusting his approach to conflict for decades to come to fine-tune. In the end, in this story, Donald Trump stood as a model for firmness and functionality against the unscrupulous villainy, which plotted personal gain, tied to undermining not just his reputation and nevertheless, the very structure of American stability and productivity, or constructivity.
Making me hot.
By liking and subscribing.